And that correlates with advertiser information for like heavy music magazines. Like I think I may have told you, like Decibel magazine, the largest readership is exactly in that age range. And I've noticed that on, like, you know, whether it's Facebook groups or, you know, the comment section of heavy music publications and websites, I've just noticed there's a lot of toxic shit out there, you know. And it's one of those things, like, there always has been some element of just sort of like, you know, sort of nihilistic or, you know, misanthropic kind of attitude in heavy music. And that's one thing, but you've just got this context where, you know, people that you just never would have fucking expected seem to have just like flipped a screw, you know. You've got, like, you know, Rob Miller from Amoebics, an anarcho-punk band, like one of the leading fucking, you know, this like seminal fucking band in that genre, who's just gone full-on fucking Holocaust denier, you know. And you know, he's lost his shit, you know, and it's disturbingly common. So I think, like, one of the things that I've thought a lot about is the way that people who play heavy music and like to listen to stuff that's just disturbing sometimes, you know, will allow themselves to kind of like say, hey, you know, I like a lot of stuff. I don't want to keep politics in music. Haven't really considered what the consequences of that are, you know? Like, if you just really don't give a shit, what ends up happening is you can create a context for acceptance, you know?
I think it was that. Kravitz came, you know, I mean, thinking back to like his real peak, like there was this little renaissance there where you had, like, you know, Living Colour became like a really huge band, and then you had like Kravitz was like the new, you know, Hendrix. Not that he truly was, but just that he was the one that reminded everyone, like, right as that early 90s kind of 60s revival was sort of kicking off, and he really fit that role well, you know. And so I think that it may not have been like it really, I think, had more to do with just like what kind of universe they were coming from. You know, you had Slash in that whole 80s Sunset Strip thing, but then you had Kravitz coming up in this sort of like slightly more woke, slightly more like culturally relevant, you know, music renaissance that was trying to happen at that point.
Let Love Rule years, that Beatles revival thing.
Exactly.
Does anyone remember Lenny Kravitz before he was Lenny Kravitz?
Like hard rock and heavy metal, you know, and it was very unforgiving. Those were the dudes. I mean, I was into punk rock back then, and I was part of the reason that I liked some of the music, you know, the metal music, but like those are the dudes that would kick my ass, you know, like that. Those were the guys who, like, one dude I remember pulled up to me. He's like, "Hey, you faggot!" And he had on a fucking t-shirt with a picture of Poison with full makeup on. It's like, I was just like, you gotta be kidding me, dude, you know?
Specifically, like, you know, Connecticut has so much wealth next to so much poverty, so there are a lot of poor white kids who are really vulnerable to neo-Nazi recruitment, or at least were at that time, where they would come in and say, "Hey, I have a story to tell you about why your life sucks."
Yeah.
And it was, you know, my first kind of engagement politically was when I was 13, and it was, you know, confronting Nazis at shows and stuff like that.
To hear the rest of this show and more, go to This Is Revolution Podcast, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud, Podbean, and wherever else you get your podcasts. This is Revolution. Oh, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button.